And that's why I love getting people fit, because I can see that fire turn on inside of them. They go like, yeah, I conquered this. What can I conquer next? I really want you to get this. Courage is moving forward when you're fearful. Spending that little amount of time on yourself can make the world of a difference in how you show up for the people that you love, and make the world of a difference in how you feel about yourself. Because a lot of people that we work with have told themselves for years and years that they would lose the weight, and potentially they've tried different unsustainable ways of doing it. They've lost the weight and then they've put it back on. And that kind of feeds into that lack of self-respect of like, I said I was going to do something and I didn't do it, or I said I was going to do something and I did it, but then I failed at it. And then it just kind of negatively reinforces that identity that when you say you're going to do something, you don't actually follow through on it, or that whenever you do get something, that you're not able to make it last. All right, welcome to the Fit Vegan Podcast. I'm your show host, Maxime, and I'm the founder and CEO of Fit Vegan Coaching, a company that is on a mission to help 10,000 people get lean, thrive, and reduce their risk of chronic illnesses by 2033 and 1 million by 2050. I believe that having a fit, healthy body and mind is the foundation to living an incredible life, and this is what the show will give you if you choose to listen and implement. Enjoy the episode and have a great day. All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Fit Vegan Podcast. Today, we're going to talk about why putting yourself first is actually you putting other people first. So I'm talking to those of you that are parents, that are caregivers, that tend to put their friends and family in front of their own needs. That means to me that you have a heart to serve, and I understand that deeply because I come from the same position. And I want you to understand that when you start to, quote unquote, put yourself first, meaning you start to exercise for your own well-being, for your own mental health, you start to eat healthier foods, you start to take better care of your body, that you will be able to better take care of the people that you love, right? And just again, a quick example of that, imagine in your head, you are the weight that you want to be, you have the body that you want to have, you have the best energy you've ever felt your entire life, you had a really good night of sleep, and then something stressful happens during the day. How would you deal with it? Okay, we have your answer here. Now imagine you are in your current position, your body's feeling inflamed and you don't feel comfortable in it. You've slept like shit the night before, and then that same exact stressful situation comes up. Do you think that you would handle it the same way? I can pretty much guarantee you that in the scenario where you slept like shit and you didn't eat good and you don't feel that great in your body, that you potentially would have been a bit more reactive, and that you may have not been as nice and potentially would have felt more stress from the situation. I know just from my own personal experience, when I'm feeling healthy and I'm eating good and I'm sleeping well, I am responsive and not reactive. I can think through problems more easily. Things don't stress me as much. I'm a better partner. I'm a better friend. I'm just an overall much better person. No one's a better person if they are inflamed, uncomfortable in their body, and tired. And so if you think about caring for the people that you love, you're actually serving them best when you are at your best. And so the thing I invite you to do is to start to take a little bit better care of yourself if you are a caregiver. So if you're someone that is currently not doing some form of resistance training, that's not, trying to improve their body composition to a place where they feel more comfortable in their body, where they have a healthier BMI, healthier body fat, where their body's not as inflamed, focus on that. If you're not doing that right now, this should be your core focus. And if it means that you have to take 30 minutes 3 times a week to do some resistance training, to spend that time on yourself, take it. Because that 30 minutes, that 90 minutes per week might prevent you from reacting to a certain situation and potentially offending people that you love, or having to recover from something stupid that you've done, right? Hey, who's ever been snappy to their husband or their wife and you said something and then they get upset and you're like, oh shit, I have to deal with this now. And it takes 2 to 3 hours to deal with it. I've been there. Ivy's very kind and patient with me. But hey, I have my days where I don't sleep too. Again, 3 hours trying to recover from something stupid that you said when you could have spent, half that amount of time taking care of yourself so that you potentially wouldn't end up in that situation, right? And at first, I think exercising leads to healthier eating, because I think it's rare that you're going to exercise your body and after you're like, yeah, I just want to eat shit food after I just sweated and worked my butt off. And so exercising leads to you eating healthier. I want to take better care of yourself, which leads to some changes in your body, which when you look in the mirror can inspire and motivate you, and it makes you want to do some more workouts or be more consistent with it. And so spending that little amount of time on yourself can make the world of a difference in how you show up for the people that you love, and make the world of a difference in how you feel about yourself. Because what I found is, yes, there is somewhat of a societal pressure to look a certain way, but let's just disregard that, because I think the expectation of society are pretty stupid and unrealistic, to be honest with you. But I think the part that most people want is and miss is that self-respect towards themselves. Because a lot of people that we work with have told themselves for years and years that they would lose the weight, and potentially they've tried different unsustainable ways of doing it. They've lost the weight and then they've put it back on. And that kind of feeds into that lack of self-respect of like, I said I was going to do something and I didn't do it, or I said I was going to do something and I did it, but then I failed at it. And then it just kind of negatively reinforces that identity that when you say you're going to do something, you don't actually follow through on it. Or that whenever you do get something, that you're not able to make it last. So you can understand, if you go through many different cycles of that, how it would make you doubtful every time you want to take on someone new, every time you want to take a risk for yourself, anytime you want to do something or set a goal for yourself. We had one of our clients, Darcy. Some of you may know him. He's been on a few podcasts. You may be listening to this podcast episode. He was a great client that we had for a few years. Completely changed his life around. I'm so proud of him. But I remember my first call with him before he joined the program. He was like, I haven't tried in a long time to lose the weight because I've been afraid to fail. So I just didn't try. And, Darcy was skinny fat, right? He had about 40 pounds to lose. We got him a 6-pack and he still has abs now. But I remember his first comment was like, I'm afraid to fail, so I haven't started. And it's like, well, you're overweight and uncomfortable in your body. Like, what hurts more, failure or being in that position? Right? Man, I'd rather fail at trying something. And failure is not the end of it. Failure is like, oh, whatever I just didn't work. I should do it better and improve on it. Failure is a part of winning. And so you have to ask yourself that question. If you're someone that's doubtful of kind of starting their transformation, of putting themselves first to feel better in their own skin so it can better take care of the people that they love and live life to the fullest, is failure that scary? Like who cares if you fail? Like, genuinely, are you going to die if you fail? Like, if you're trying to lose weight, you're trying to lose 40 pounds and you lose 20 and then you go off track. Is it a failure? No, because you can just get back on track and continue moving forward, right? There's never any true failure. It's only a failure if you choose to quit, right? Which is a beautiful quote, that people don't fail, people quit. Like, it's never a failure until you quit. So if you try to lose 40 pounds and you get to 20 and then whatever, you binge, you miss a workout, you go off track for a week, is it a failure? No, you just had a sidestep. Just get back at it. It is a failure if you choose to quit on it, then you are consciously choosing to make it a failure. But if not, it's just a misstep. Just get back at it and then continue moving forward, right? Like, if you have to walk 100 meters and you progress 1 inch at a time, if you continue walking 1 inch at a time, will you get there eventually? The answer is yes. It is undeniable that you will get to where you want to if you walk 1 inch at a time. If you walk a millimeter at a time, will you get there? Yeah, it'll take you longer, but it is undeniable that you will get to where you want to. And so it is not a failure until you choose to quit. And so to me, the cost of being overweight and uncomfortable in your body and having low self-confidence and not going for the full experience of life feels like a waste of potential, feels like a waste of time. It feels a little bit silly. And I'm hoping that the people listening to that, if you're listening to this podcast, that it's like, I just really want you to get it to the level that I get it. So that's why I'm trying to say it a bunch of different ways, but there's no real failure. There's no real failure in life. Like, yeah, you tell your friend to lose 40 pounds, you get to 20, you go off track. Well, who cares? Your friend would rather see you win than be like, aha, you fail, you suck. You just be like, no, I went off track and I went back on track. And the people that are criticizing you right now, maybe criticize now, but once you get to your goal, they're going to ask you how you did it. That's the truth, right? I used to have people hate on me as I built Fit Vegan. Now they're asking me for a job to work for me, right? So, people are going to say what they're going to say. Everyone has their own insecurities. And a lot of the times it's so much easier to criticize someone that is doing something brave that they care about than for them to take on their own journey for themselves, because they are afraid also. So it's so much easier to bash someone else than it is for someone to take on this journey for themselves. But at the end of the day, people are insecure. It doesn't have to affect you. Who cares? Who cares if you fail? Man, I would much rather, I'm just talking to myself now, but it's basically what a podcast is, right? When you think of it, especially on a solo episode, I would much rather try to lose 40 pounds over and over again until I get there than to live with being 40 pounds overweight. As much as I'm used to it, man, it might be shortening my life by like a decade. Do I want to shorten my life by a decade? I want to spend time with my wife. I want to spend time with my future family. I want to feel good as I get older. Like, what's the cost of the fear of failure? It's so much higher than, again, it's not a failure, it's just you going off track. Like, you never really fail until you quit. So yeah, if you get to 20 pounds and you binge eat and you go off for a week or a month, who cares? Just get back at it. Keep moving forward, right? Ask for help. Do what you need to do to kind of get the job done. But man, what if it takes you a little bit longer? Again, I'd rather it take me 4 times as long as I think it will take and actually have the 40 pounds off of my body and keep it off than to give up because it didn't happen as fast as I thought it would in my head, or because it didn't happen the way that I expected it to be in my head. Yeah, it sounds so silly when you say it out loud, right? So for those of you that are in that position where you're potentially afraid of spending that time with yourself, you're potentially afraid of taking on this journey, that's the whole point. That's what courage is. Courage is moving forward when you're fearful. That's literally what it is. Right? That's literally what courage is, moving forward when you are fearful and still moving forward. And so I really want you to get this. Like, you have the ability to accomplish such incredible fucking things in your life. Man, it's making me emotional. Like, I never thought that I would be in the position that I'm in today. And I only got here because I took all the beatings and all the quote unquote, what people would have labeled failure, and I learned from them. And now I built this beautiful thing that has transformed the lives of almost 800 people. We had so many people that weren't able to have kids that were able to get healthier and have kids. And we had people that had cancer scares that are able to shrink the size of their tumor, or people that were able to kind of reverse some of their conditions. It's so, wow, it's making me cry. I'm so emotional. It's fucking wild that if I gave up because I was scared or because of what other people said about me, that all of these lives would have never been transformed or have never been touched. I feel that I owe it to the world. I owe it to my late partner to do this. I owe it to my wife. I owe it to my parents. I owe it to myself to move forward regardless of the fear, right? You guys see the podcast, you see the transformations, all that stuff. But man, running a business is challenging, right? Trying to convince people that they should take care of themselves is literally my job, right? We have the ability to help people transform in the back end, but my job is trying to convince people that they should take care of themselves and that we are here to help them. That's literally what I do every day. But yeah, if I had stopped because of fear, none of this would exist. And, I see your great reviews on the podcast. I see you guys' email, your messages from the newsletter, your Instagram DM, your Facebook messages. Like, I appreciate every single kind word. And I just want you to know that all of these beautiful things are possible for you as well. And to me, the thing that has changed my life is gaining mastery over my body, my nutrition, and my mind. It doesn't mean that it's perfect all the time, but it means that I'm on track more often than I am off track. That's what allows me to move forward, because I wholeheartedly believe that having a fit and healthy body is the foundation upon which you can build an incredible life. Because once you have that, you have so much energy, strength, and confidence that you start to go for the things that you actually want for yourself. When I feel that so many people in this life don't go for the things that they truly want for themselves out of fear of failure, what other people think, what other people think they will think of them. And it's so silly because, yeah, fuck everyone. I feel like if people around you are not supportive of the things that are important to you, those people shouldn't be around you. And I know that unfortunately, sometimes that's a husband, that's a wife. I wholeheartedly believe that the partner you choose to spend the rest of your life with is one of the most important decisions you can make. Ivy and I were upfront with each other, and we talk about this on the podcast that we do together, but we promised each other that we would be supportive of the goals that we had. And that if we didn't, we shouldn't be together. And that's always been my rule with every relationship that I've ever been on. I'm an ambitious man, and I have big dreams and big goals for the impact that I want to have in the world. And I'm not going to be with anyone that does not support that. And I'm okay with not being with someone if that means me living to my fullest potential. I do not want to dim my potential and my ambitions for someone, because if I have to, it's definitely not the right person for me. That's just how I make my decisions and how I live my life. But I want you to know that all the beautiful things you have in your mind that you want for yourself, you have the ability to get it. It may take you longer than you want, but man, is it ever undeniable for you to get to where you want to if you continue to take action, regardless of fear, regardless of fear of rejection, of small failures, which are just learning opportunities. If you just keep showing up and improving every single time, to me, it is undeniable for you to get to where you want to. Whether that is to find the partner of your dreams, whether that is to lose a certain amount of weight, whether that is to leave your job and start your own business and live on your own terms, whether that is to travel the world, whatever, have kids. I think it is undeniable for you to get to what you want to if you consistently show up and you detach yourself from the timeline. And so that's just what I want for people. Transformation is just a means of helping people accomplish that. Yes, I'm helping to greatly reduce your risk of chronic illnesses like cancer, heart disease, diabetes, Alzheimer, when I'm making you eat this way. But I know that I'm giving you a solid foundation, because once you own your shit, the world is not ready for what you're about to do. And that's why I love getting people fit, because I can see that fire turn on inside of them. They go like, yeah, I conquered this. What can I conquer next? And I want to help people get that fire inside, because it gets me fired up. It makes me emotional. So I was crying earlier. And so I'm just going to end the podcast on this. I want you to live the most incredible life possible. And I believe that if you're able to have a healthy and fit body and that you've gained mastery over yourself, you will be able to accomplish that. It's really hard to have a life of fulfillment, of happiness, and of full enjoyment where your body is not a physical limitation to the things that you want to do if you are overweight, inflamed, depressed, and miserable. Because I've been there. And it wasn't that great of a life. I didn't enjoy it. So that's what I want for every single one of you. I know this podcast is a little bit different than what the topic of it was, but it was in my heart for me to share that with you. And so I hope it resonated. And if it did, please share the podcast with someone that you think would benefit from this conversation, because there's just so many people that I can reach with the podcast, which is why I love being on other people's podcasts, because I get to have access to a new audience and a new group of people that have never heard the message potentially said this way. And so share the podcast episode with someone that enjoyed it. If you enjoy this episode or enjoy the podcast as an overall, I invite you to leave a review on the podcast. Ideally 5 stars, it would be great. Right? Write a nice little review on there, because it really helps the channel grow and it helps me impact the lives of more people. And so I appreciate you. Thank you for staying tuned until the end, and have an incredible day, and stay tuned for our podcast. Our next episode coming out on Tuesday. We're going to be with an incredible guest, and have an amazing day, everyone. Bye.